Well, Bill and Sade, accepting a plea agreement would mean that Sean Combs would have to admit to trafficking and forced. And today he made it very clear that was not going to happen. Diddy maintained all along these encounters involved consenting adults and plans to take his chances that a jury agreed.
Difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. But sometimes you gotta do that. I was fucked up. I hit rock bottom. But I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video.
Sean Diddy Combs walked into that Manhattan courtroom on May 5th, looking calm, collected, like he had everything under control. But what happened next? No one saw it coming. What was supposed to be a simple, quiet day of jury selection spiraled into complete chaos. And it started with one unexpected voice. The judge, R.N. Subramanian, didn't just take control of the room, he flipped the whole vibe upside down. The tension? You could slice it with a knife. The courtroom tried to stay serious, but the judge? He had everyone cracking up.
Disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy and go into rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace.
The judge took shots at Diddy's never-ending list of names, joking the juror forms were longer than Lord of the Rings. Reporters rushed for sound bites. Diddy just sat there, cold, blank, behind wire-rimmed glasses, catching stray jokes like he was the punchline of a meme. But the laughter, it died fast. Before anyone was sworn in, the real storm hit. Federal prosecutors dropped 5 felony charges, hard. 2 of them, transporting people across state lines for illicit acts. Another, conspiracy. They say Diddy ran a dark operation. Pressure, lavish gifts, secret trips, years in the making. The control, the silence. Was this a scandal? Or something much darker waiting to explode?
I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
According to prosecutors, this wasn't chaos. It was a calculated empire, built to rake in millions, boost his image, and bury the dirt deep under layers of staff, fake companies, and Loctite NDAs. Diddy, now 55, has pleaded not guilty across the board. He claims every interaction was consensual, but if he's found guilty of the most serious charges, he could lose everything. We're talking life in prison, homes, cars, even his royalty checks. But here's the kicker. Assistant U.S. Attorney Rachel Collins dropped a bomb. They've got the receipts. Bank records, travel logs, eyewitnesses. This wasn't random. She says it was deliberate, tactical.
Hearing before Sean Combs' trial starts, when he walked into federal court today, he appeared to be looking for his family. They've pretty much been at all of the hearings that I've been to, but there was no presence of his sons or his mother or his sister who had previously been at those.
But Diddy's lawyer, he came out swinging. Benjamin Brafman didn't just deny the claims, he accused the government of turning adult choices into criminal theater. He called it flashy living, not felonies, drama, not danger. In a pre-trial statement, he painted the indictment as a patchwork of revenge plots, rumors, and weaponized gossip. That 5-count bombshell, it dropped just this February, after a full year of secret jury probes, hidden lawsuits, leaked emails, and phone data that could flip the story upside down. But prosecutors aren't backing down. They say Diddy went all out. Jets, yachts, luxury tour buses, flying women across the country.
So here's what came out of today's hearing. Number one, the government acknowledged that they offered Combs a plea deal. Combs acknowledged he has no interest in taking that. They're going to move forward with the trial.
They say it started with promises, modeling gigs, music videos, opportunities too good to be true. But behind the scenes, something darker may have been unfolding. 2 of the most explosive charges accused Diddy of using force, fraud, or pressure, allegedly, between 2016 and 2020. And the cities involved? Miami, LA, Vegas. Prosecutors claim he wasn't just booking hotel suites. He was setting stages. Security teams, locked down rooms, women allegedly unable to move freely. Was it luxury or lockdown? They're calling it an exploitation enterprise. And that charge? It changes everything. Because now, the government can unleash even more evidence of conspiracy beyond the top 5 charges. Court docs list just 3 accusers by their initials. But here's the shocker. At least 8 more witnesses may be coming forward. And then, Cassie? Yes, that Cassie. The singer who settled privately with Diddy last year? She's just been subpoenaed for possible rebuttal testimony. Things are spiraling fast. Judge R. Subramanian isn't slowing it down. He shut down the defenses. Delay request, even as digital files arrived late, to shield jurors from chaos, he ruled they'll be anonymous and partially sequestered. But just before the jury entered, the judge dropped a final zinger, joking that Diddy's list of stage emo names might be longer than the juror forms.
Also talked about the jury selection process, which one legal expert I spoke to said is probably the most important thing that you want to pay close attention to before the actual trial starts.
It's a media storm wrapped in secrets, power, and fear. And now, it's about to explode. Every juror had to fill out a 120-question deep dive. Not just basic stuff. This form probed their social media habits. And if they've been exposed to celebrity abuse cases online, that's how serious this is. Jury selection expected to take 4 full days. Because let's be honest, everyone already has an opinion. Diddy, sorry comas, didn't walk through the front. He slipped in through a private tunnel beneath the courthouse, wearing a sharp navy suit, rimless glasses, and a face that said calculated calm. He's been granted special permission. No orange jumpsuit. Just 2 suits, 4 ties, 1 pair of dress shoes. That's his wardrobe for the 8-week courtroom war. And here's the twist. This criminal case didn't come out of nowhere. It followed a tidal wave of civil lawsuits dropped since November 2023. Claims of emotional manipulation, disturbing violence, and wild parties dubbed freak-offs. Those lawsuits? Paused. But the criminal trial? Blazing hot. Because prosecutors have what they call hard proof. Encrypted chats, banking data, surveillance footage, and trails of hush money quietly slipping into third-party accounts.
And thirdly, we learned that Combs will be adding 2 new attorneys to his defense team. And just to recap, Combs, who is 55 years old, could spend the rest of his life behind bars if convicted on sex trafficking and racketeering. He has pleaded not guilty to all charges.
This isn't just another celebrity scandal. This is the kind of case that could shatter a legacy, expose an entire system, and send shockwaves through the entire industry. Because behind the glitz, behind the platinum records and luxury mansions, a dark blueprint of control is allegedly being uncovered. It starts with the money, always the money, but not the kind you flex on Instagram. We're talking about hidden payments, silent deals, and prosecutors claim they're part of a carefully crafted strategy to protect a secret empire built on exploitation. They say these weren't just NDAs. They were weapons, tools to buy silence, tools to erase trauma, and Diddy's legal team, they're treating it like just another Tuesday in the entertainment business. Routine, they say. Just standard issue Hollywood cleanups. But prosecutors aren't buying it. They've brought in forensic accountants claiming the books are clean. But even the cleanest books can hide the dirtiest truths. And here's where it all starts to unravel. Legal analysts are sounding the alarm. This case is eerily similar to the R. Kelly conviction in 2022. That case changed the game. And now, with RICO laws being weaponized again, the message is clear. No one is untouchable anymore. According to Loyola law professor Lori Levinson, this type of indictment, once considered nearly impossible, is now gaining traction fast. And the stakes? Absolutely massive. We're talking about a potential $140 million asset seizure. Not rumors. On paper, in court. The government is targeting everything. Diddy's Beverly Hills mansion, his Long Island estate, and yes, even the masters to his iconic Bad Boy Records catalog. This isn't just a trial, it's a dismantling, and it's already begun. Sources confirm Diddy has handed over control of several of his business ventures. His once lucrative liquor deal with Diageo, dead in the water. Revolt Media, once the crown jewel of his media empire, now scrambling with a temporary board as advertisers vanish. The walls are closing in, and the prosecution isn't playing small. They've revealed a staggering arsenal, 48 digital exhibits, 31 physical items, over 900 pages of financial documents. Each one, they say, a piece of the puzzle. A puzzle that, when completed, reveals a chilling pattern of behavior. They estimate 4 weeks just to present their case, and that's before the defense even begins. But when they do, expect a war. Because Diddy's defense attorney, Benjamin Brafman, is already in attack mode. He's calling this a money grab by disgruntled insiders. He claims the timeline doesn't line up. And to prove it, they've introduced a sealed exhibit containing text messages from one of the main accusers. Messages thanking Diddy for changing my life, asking for help with a career, smiling, grateful, cooperative, but prosecutors hit back hard. They argue those messages are not proof of innocence, they're evidence of manipulation, of financial control, of grooming masked as generosity. And there's more. They plan to introduce a 2019 audio recording from a studio session in LA. In that tape, Diddy allegedly loses control, screaming at staff after a woman tried to leave a private party. An outburst, caught on mic, a moment prosecutors say speaks volumes about his behind-the-scenes behavior, but Brafman wants the tape thrown out. Says it's irrelevant, a distraction, just noise. Still, that's not the kind of noise the public forgets. Because if even one of the most serious charges sticks, Diddy could face a minimum of 15 years in federal prison. And under RICO, the court has full authority to stack sentences, seize assets, and break every piece of what they're calling a criminal organization disguised as an empire. This could be the biggest takedown in hip-hop history. The kind of downfall we've only ever seen in movies. So now the world is watching. The fans, the industry, the former allies, everyone wants to know. Is this the end of Bad Boy? Was the luxury just a mask for something far darker? And after everything we've seen, do we even really know who Diddy is? Let us know what you believe.
Going to try and say that Diddy's mental capacity could not make it possible for him to commit these crimes, claiming that maybe drugs or alcohol could have been at fault.
The U.S. Attorney's Office isn't playing around. Their message is clear: justice for survivors and holding the powerful accountable. But inside the Manhattan courtroom, Comey stays almost silent, only nodding to confirm he understands the charges. The silence, it's heavier than words. Outside, the city is roaring. Protest groups are already planning daily demonstrations, desperate to make their voices heard. But the judge has slammed the door on loudspeakers within 100 feet, trying to keep the chaos at bay. Still, the trial is exploding across every screen, every timeline. In just the first 24 hours of jury selection, there were over 28,000 online mentions. The internet is ablaze, and that's only the beginning. Finding jurors untouched by the frenzy, nearly impossible. Cable networks are live streaming every moment. Streaming platforms are prepping recap specials. This trial has become a media monster, pressure mounting with every second. But the fallout isn't just legal. Combs' bad boy empire is bleeding. Spotify reports show a shocking 12% drop in his monthly listeners since April. His fashion line, Sean John, has already hit pause on a new capsule collection. Investors pulling back in real time. Fans had no idea the impact would be this fast and fierce. Still, some insiders aren't ready to write the obituary just yet. They point to legends like Michael Jackson, whose streaming numbers bounced back even after controversy shook the world. Could Combs pull off a similar comeback, or is this damage permanent? Meanwhile, the feds have gone all in. Back in March, agents raided Combs' homes. LA, Miami, snatching hard drives, security servers, anything that might hold the truth. His defense is calling it over the top, too aggressive, too invasive. They've filed motions to suppress that evidence, but the judge won't decide until after jury selection ends. Prosecutors say the digital trail tells a chilling story. Flight plans from private jets, brokered guest lists from exclusive clubs, even facial recognition. Tracking who went where, when. This isn't speculation. It's detailed surveillance designed to prove an alleged conspiracy stretching across states and years. And as if that wasn't enough, the IRS has quietly opened a separate audit, digging into suspicious income tied to lavish parties and hush-hush deals. No tax charges yet, but an IRS memo slipped into court documents hints at unreported cash flow, money moving in the shadows. Combs' PR team is firing back hard, calling the indictment a twisted version of his private life. They highlight his philanthropy, donations to historically black colleges and universities, hurricane relief efforts, arguing the government is ignoring the full picture. Legal battles rage on both sides. Defense lawyers plan to argue some claims fall outside the 10-year statute of limitations for the worst charges. But prosecutors counter, claiming the conspiracy was active until January 2024, resetting the clock and keeping the hammer ready to fall. Judge Subramanian is trying to keep things fair, ordering the jury to hear about past civil settlements without dollar amounts, without the phrase hush money to avoid bias. This courtroom is a pressure cooker. Every word weighed, every move watched. If Combs is convicted, it won't end with just a verdict. A second forfeiture phase could drag on for months, squeezing assets and digging deeper into the empire's finances. Appeals would go straight to the same court that backed the R. Kelly ruling, based on chillingly similar legal grounds. As jury selection resumes, tension is thick. Opening statements are penciled in, testimony set to begin May 12th. Inside that courtroom, Diddy remains stone-faced as prosecutors reveal a witness list over 20 strong. Former employees, doctors, airline staff who flew charter flights between 2016 and 2023. Each one ready to pull back the curtain on years of intimidation, secret deals, and alleged misconduct. Prosecutor Rachel Collins warned the court, these witnesses will describe their roles in moving alleged victims across state lines and hiding the money trail behind it all. The silence in the courtroom grows louder with every name called. What happens next could change everything. Is this the beginning of the end for our once untouchable empire? Can Combs survive the storm, or will the truth finally break through the silence? What do you think? Is justice finally catching up, or is this just another act in a show we're all watching unfold?
Apparently, a couple of weeks ago, the prosecution offered Diddy a plea deal, which he turned down. We don't know the details of what that plea deal entailed, but he said he's not taking it. This is coming after they've added additional charges, like the second superseding indictment.
They thought they could blindside the defense with surprise witnesses, names that only appeared after those intense March raids on Combs' homes in LA and Miami. But defense lawyer Benjamin Brafman wasn't having it. He pushed back hard, accusing the prosecution of pulling a last-minute ambush. The courtroom tension was thick, but Judge Subramanian shut that down fast, ruling those witnesses were fair game, reminding everyone the government only has to reveal its witness list after the jury is picked. This wasn't just a trial. It was a battle of nerves during day 2 of jury selection, slowly moving as lawyers tried to weed out jurors influenced by other big-name cases. By late afternoon, only 9 jurors were provisionally cleared from a huge pool of 150. Everyone faced a brutal 120-question survey probing media habits, music tastes, even opinions on celebrity charity work. Outside, prosecutor Rachel Collins revealed the prosecution's plan to show how Diddy's brand was allegedly weaponized, twisting glamour into a trap nobody expected. But that was just the beginning. What will these witnesses expose? How deep does this scandal run? Can the empire survive when fame becomes its own downfall?
You know that Cassie video where you see Diddy dragging her in a hotel from 2016? The judge says that it can be included after Diddy's defense team had been trying to have it not included.
They say the evidence is rock solid. Screenshots from encrypted messages, even rideshare receipts that put people right where the crime allegedly happened. But Brafman, he calls it all twisted. Says those texts are just innocent back and forth, nothing more than normal scheduling. And the ride data, carefully cherry-picked to fit one side's story. Inside the courtroom, the tension hit another peak. Both sides battling over expert testimony. Prosecutors want a clinical psychologist to explain trauma bonding, while the defense plans to bring in a music industry insider to break down NDAs like a pro. Judge Subramanian promised to decide who's testifying before opening statements start. Then came a bombshell. A sealed court document, partially unsealed, revealed the government subpoenaed hotel security logs from Miami Beach, Vegas, and LA, tracking room key usage by Combs and 3 unnamed accusers on nights that match the indictment. If this data holds up, legal expert Lori Levinson says it's devastating, showing the accusers and Diddy locked together in private rooms right before the alleged incidents. And it doesn't stop there. 2 former bodyguards flipped, both granted immunity. One will testify about a secret red code used to confiscate phones at Diddy's wild parties. The other claims he delivered cash-filled envelopes to mysterious drop-off points. But Brafman's not convinced. calls them bitter ex-employees trying to cut deals to dodge unrelated gun charges. He says payroll records will prove they were fired for theft, not abuse. Judge Subramanian quickly shut down the mudslinging, warning this trial won't turn into a circus. No character assassinations unless backed by real evidence. No trials. Within trials. Outside, the tension was electric. Jurors sneaking in through a side entrance to avoid protesters. Silence Breakers advocacy groups stood strong, holding signs demanding justice for survivors. Meanwhile, a small group of fans blasted old-school bad boy hits from portable speakers, adding an eerie soundtrack to the drama unfolding inside. Comey, dressed in charcoal, kept his head low, only whispering with lawyers over jury notes. His mother, Janice Combs, sat quietly, scribbling in a notebook. Then prosecutors dropped more heat. A financial forensics expert, Olivia Grant, dissected 2,400 transactions from Combs' LLCs between 2018 and 2022. Her report? A staggering $30.4 million vanished through cashier's checks labeled as consulting or event advances, sent to people with no real contracts. Even more explosive, $7.6 million wired from Bad Boy Touring to an offshore account in Nevis later. Used to buy a lavish mansion in Hills, now a prime target for seizure.
According to People magazine, they said prosecutors recently filed a motion disputing any testimony that might show that Sean Diddy Combs didn't have, quote, the mental capacity to commit the crimes he's accused of because of the effects of drugs or alcohol. The motion filed on April 27th references apparent testimony from a psychiatrist on behalf of the defense and asked the judge to prevent his testimony during.
They say the numbers don't lie, but Braffman fired back, calling the prosecution's report speculative math. He says short-term consultants are common in entertainment, and the Nevis account was fully disclosed in IRS filings. The judge wasn't here to waste time. He slapped both sides with strict deadlines for expert disclosures and ordered clear summary charts for the jury. No more delays. Then prosecutors revealed 2 accusers will testify under pseudonyms. Their stories? Shocking. Scouted at nightclubs, promised modeling deals, then pushed into uncomfortable situations inside Combs' residences. One claims she was secretly recorded and threatened with a career blacklist if she spoke out. Defense. Plans to fight back with emails showing the same accuser thanking Combs for life-changing chances and even requesting extra travel money? Prosecutor Collins shut that down. Those messages don't mean gratitude. They show financial dependency used to control. Music attorney Dina Lept, who's worked on celeb misconduct cases, said, "This trial shows how blurry business moves and personal boundaries get in fame and fortune." As the drama unfolded, Prosecutor Collins reminded jurors, "You must decide if behavior that looks sleazy is also criminal." That's the razor-thin line this case walks. Outside, the fallout exploded. Sean John halted a summer collab. Spotify added disclaimers on Combs' songs, directing fans to news updates. Bad Boy Records stayed silent. No comment. Financial analysts warned if streaming platforms pushed Diddy's catalog down, his earnings could take a hit. Still, after R. Kelly's 2022 conviction, his streams dropped 19% in 6 weeks, but some listeners came back later. Meanwhile, IRS warned it might file a restitution claim if Combs is convicted. They're deep into a parallel audit tied to freak-off parties. No tax charges yet, but prosecutors warned this could supersede the indictment.
Trial, Combs will ditch the jail garb and wear ordinary clothes, as his lawyers argue the evidence shows consenting adults being intimate in their own way.
We have the latest from federal court in the Sean Combs criminal case. Status of jury selection, what Diddy's going to be wearing, violation of a gag order, rejecting a plea offer.
The courtroom just got even more intense. Judge Subramanian dropped a bombshell ruling. Any new civil settlements between Combs and his accusers must now be filed under seal. Why? To stop potential witness intimidation. No cameras allowed inside the courtroom. Only sketches will capture this high-stakes drama. Artist Elizabeth Williams confirmed she'll be releasing daily illustrations, giving us a rare, behind-the-scenes glimpse of the trial's raw emotions. But it doesn't stop there. Federal marshals testified behind closed doors that social media threats have skyrocketed, forcing a massive security boost. Yet, inside the courthouse, they say Combs isn't facing any real danger. Jury selection is dragging on, but the judge just laid down the law. No more stalling. Court resources aren't unlimited, and wasting time will have consequences. Right now, 9 jurors are locked in, with more questioning lined up tomorrow. The pressure is building as key rulings on expert witnesses are expected just before opening statements, tentatively set for May 12th. This case is heating up faster than anyone predicted, and you know we'll be tracking every jaw-dropping twist and shocking turn. If you live for breaking stories, legal drama, and all the unseen moments that define celebrity trials, hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell. You don't want to miss a single update. Now tell me, is this a complete fall from grace or just another star caught in the crossfire? Drop your thoughts below. This saga is far from over.